We know of new methods of attack.
Okay. We have this.
Here's our dog cam.
The fifth column.
All
Go
right.
now, Crosby. Come here, Crosby.
Come on.
Get up here, Crosby.
Come on. We have a guest today.
Yeah.
More interesting than the previous guests.
Or at least the previous co-host. We have a new co-host here.
Yeah, we have a
David Bowie
a
eyes.
four-legged co-host
Yeah.
who shows up.
Has fewer meetings.
Fewer meetings. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
What's up, YouTube world?
Yeah. What's up, Twitter world? Who's that? Do you remember? The Juice. OJ. Yeah, so we're the Juice.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that because we're going to talk about Barry. I think we're going to talk about Barry and the massive, there's only one Barry these days, the 85,000 word tedious New Yorker profile of her and the endless number of stories just leaking out of that organization. But yeah, we're screwing around. We're experimenting, doing another episode this week, an extra one, and trying to do it live on YouTube.
Over here, it's this Gillis Thorne saying that Kmele was turned into a dog. That's
Yes, he was. This is the sitcom that we're pitching. Yeah. Is that Kmele turns into a dog, and then we have to walk him all the time. What are we talking about, Matt? A lot going on in the world.
A lot going on in Twitter world here. I want to point out that what was the name of our super chatter person?
Who?
Right at the top of this. This is what's your deal?
What's your deal, hater?
What's your deal, hater?
Yeah, $1.99.
That super chat is on, and he paid $1.99 for us.
Correct.
Yeah, I think it's a he.
I don't know because
what's your deal, hater?
Because literally no woman alive could do that. For the price of a cup of coffee, as Sally Struthers used to say. Actually, that's not the price of a cup of coffee. $1.99. But yeah,
we're here because we can be, because we're in town at the same time. At least some of us are.
Yeah.
Others are at meetings or our dogs. And,
yes.
And there's a lot of news.
There's a lot of news to talk about.
You said JD Vance said we was asked that question today about the economy, and he's like, "Look, it takes a long time to turn the Titanic around."
That's great. Yeah, it takes a long time to pull it from the bottom of the ocean, like 80 years or something.
Really long time.
Well, it was never pulled. We discovered it there. Anyway, is. But actually, can I give JD Vance a small amount of credit here? A very small amount of credit. That in saying that, he is acknowledging that the economy is not in good shape.
That's true.
Which is better than what Trump does and says it's all amazing and all brilliant. But those numbers are not great, which is why people are clinging on to this idea that everyone, and this is not true, by the way, even people who opposed the insane tariff regime, that it would cause a recession. That was not across the board.
Not at all.
Not even close.
Not even Scott Linscomb.
Not even Scott Linscomb, who told us on our program said that. And so that's what so many people are pointing to. That you guys are wrong about everything. Not us, but economists are wrong because there wasn't or hasn't been a recession. So, but yeah, there's a ton of stuff to talk about. Do you want to pull something from the chat that is happening right now?
Let's see. What's a good one here?
And by the way, we appreciate that it's 2:00 and a lot of you are at work, not doing work and watching this. And
this is good. David Bray, 2428. What should a college student do when talking to friends on the right and left about global issues when we are also caught up in our own algorithm worlds? So, algorithm world, spoken as a centrist college student. First of all, you know how long it's been since I've been in college?
You never finished college.
I kind of didn't really start it.
Yeah.
Too aggressively.
Which is probably why you didn't finish it.
40 years ago is when I was a freshman.
Holy shit. That's a long time ago. What do you do? Well,
you start a band?
Yeah, you don't talk to your friends, particularly college students, about politics in general. I made that mistake, and look where I am now.
Yep.
And it's a lot of people who have an extreme amount of confidence that is not matched by knowledge or experience, and have a lot of opinions on a lot of different things. And then they end up sitting on folding chairs on the quad saying, "Prove me wrong." It's like, I'm never going to get a girlfriend. Prove me wrong. It's like, I can't actually. I think
Here's
that's
what
right.
you do, and actually this kind of maps at least some of how I dealt with politics in college. Of course, I was working the college newspaper, so we were writing about contemporary politics often, but like argue about like the politics from 60 years ago and for 40 years ago and 155 years ago. Like, God damn it, the Spanish Civil War, anarchists should have done this and whatever. Like, because that couples it with learning some weird stuff. And then also you're more consciously, you're just being part of college is that you're trying on identities and argumentative styles and politics and things like that. But there's an element of play. You should play with politics when you're in college, if that's what you want to do, or play with other things. But understand that it's play. And that's,
I think everything should be prefaced at that age with a clause that says, I'm 19, I don't know anything, but, and then
I was so
you
fucking
could say,
smart at 19 though.
but were you one of those people that thought they knew? I mean, I
No,
obviously
being kicked
was.
out of college for bad grades and then working full time at an auto body shop,
Oh, wow.
minimum wage.
This is like the shittiest Bruce Springsteen B-side I've ever heard in my life. I was going to, where did you go?
I UC Santa Barbara, and then Santa Barbara Community College, and then Long Beach City College. Gore 764. We'll just
By the way, if it comes up in that big green thing, it's green for us, and it has a dollar figure next to it, you get to say whatever you want. We will debase ourselves.
Yeah,
we will answer your questions, whatever it might be. But Matt, would you like to read this?
In Gore 764, everybody is like Joey bunch of numbers are over here. In Maine, ICE detained an 18-year-old kid for a fender bender. Think he somehow is in a Massachusetts facility, and they don't really have facilities in Maine. I would just assume
they're shipped in Massachusetts,
a populated place. Facility, and his mom is trying to contact him. That sucks. Lots and lots of stories like that. Not just fender benders, but obviously door to door and. We actually had a long email, which I probably won't read because it's long. It was sort of a rebuttal to the email we read on this morning's, but last night's.
Yeah, we recorded last night.
Email. This one is from also quite knowledgeable Minneapolis residents. I want to say,
is that for Gore 764? You pay $5, use your name. We'll make you famous. Was the kid a documented or undocumented immigrant? Do we know anything about that?
You're using PC words like documented?
Well, yeah, because I don't want Chris Cuomo to go after me. Did you see that video?
No.
Chris Cuomo video today. You guys, if you're wasting your time on this, I got some other stuff you should waste your time on.
Did
Chris Cuomo
get to you? She's like, you have to watch Chris Cuomo videos?
No, it comes across the transom. We were going to have him on the show. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say too much about Chris Cuomo. I don't give a shit. But he was talking about somebody. Oh, Scott on CNN. Jennings. And he was like, I will fight you, man, because you use dehumanizing language like illegal immigrant. So he was language and tone policing Scott Jennings, which I think is a stupid thing to do. And Scott Jennings, I think, performed very well in this. I don't love his sort of broader argument about this, but there was this little shitty kid on there who's, running for Congress or something, one of these like 22-year-olds. And he was like, you have to stop using the word illegal. No. And Scott Jennings was like, and who's going to enforce this? Which was a funny response. But apparently it's going to be Chris Cuomo who enforces this. But he was like, I will punch you in the face. It was like this insane video. So yeah. You raised my mic.
I'm sorry, these microphone stands are so well designed, producer Jason, that somehow they don't get in a perfect place. It's strange how that works. Happy Half 130 says, have you spoken to MK? She keeps getting worse. Mary Catherine, I think is doing great. I don't see any evidence that
we also don't consider Canadian currency legal tender, so we're not going to answer that question.
We enjoy talking about private, sensitive matters in private, and to inform our listeners in timely, intimate settings about timely, intimate things, and then moving on and not making a big deal about it. And I understand that there are people who are not satisfied with that,
or can understand the fact that I still and will remain, regardless of the opinion of anybody else, and particularly her, I like her a lot. I just think I really like her a lot. We disagree on massive amounts of things these days. We paths diverge at a certain point, but I like Megan a lot. She's a very, very cool person. She's always been great to us, and that's all I'll say about it. But anyway, what else did you want to read that one? The counterpoint?
Oh, this one. Well, I don't. It's a very nice letter, email from I believe Elizabeth in Minneapolis. And Elizabeth, if I get your name wrong,
she's in Minneapolis. Well, I read that because it's in Minneapolis.
It's long,
no. Can you do a
all right,
abbreviated version?
Just that the previous one said that we were incomplete, and she says, well, that email itself was incomplete. It's not true that ICE is behaving better in areas where local officials are more cooperative. In Wilmar, Minnesota, I believe that MN is Minnesota, right? Yeah. They are at a Mexican restaurant and went back hours later to stalk and arrest the workers. I saw that one. That was horrible. Wilmar is in a red county.
There's something really horrible about going and eating there and then being like, I'm going to go back and arrest the people who served me.
Found them.
Yeah.
It's like hiring the day laborer and then come back after they've moved your...
But I will say better service might have solved that problem. What? It's true.
Too soon.
It's true. I mean...
That's just one example. ICE has been stomping around smaller towns. Jesus Christ, man, this is a bad idea. And rural communities have been met with protests there, too. That is also true. There's also reports circulating that they detained a 5-year-old child. Yeah, have you seen some of these videos of the...
I saw that one today. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I'll tell you what's great about our viewers and listeners is we get a great bunch of emails from kind of both sides of this issue of people being insane on both sides. I mean, there was one that a guy sent us from New Hampshire of a local cinema or something. And it was like, cool as ice, winter festival for cinema. And then they sent out a follow-up one. It's like, we're very sorry for using the word ice.
Yeah.
It's frozen cubes of water, is what we're trying to say. But like that kind of stupidity, and I think someone did send that crazy one of a 5-year-old being detained. It was hard to tell. And again, I think the wise counsel here is to wait as long as you can for the kind of details of some of these stories to come out, because this is what we saw happen in 2020. We see this in 2014 and
beginning
stuff.
in Ferguson, yeah.
And again, it doesn't mean, and we've talked endlessly about this, the kind of larger superstructure of this is worrying in about 1,000 ways constitutionally, et cetera. But the individual examples, sometimes you need more context.
Collapse.
If it is what we think it is, with this 5-year-old who's this father being detained, I mean, I've told the story on the show when I was arrested for having an old speeding ticket, which is crazy.
Kind of deserved it.
It was a 28.
You get some for your new speeding tickets. I've been in your car recently.
I don't get speeding tickets anymore. You know why? Do you want to know why?
Yeah.
The Jews. Do you want to know why that's true? Who created Waze? The Jews.
Oh.
And then they sold it to Google, the Jews. It's just a lot. And Waze tells me where the cops are, so I don't get speeding tickets anymore. That was 1996 that I got my speeding ticket. But anyway, Matt, your digression into anti-Semitism, because my mention of the Jews is very positive here. Yeah, there was a Nazi question up there too, by the way. But no, when that happened, my daughter was in the car. And they didn't do anything. They handcuffed me for an old speeding ticket. They didn't do any of that until someone came to pick her up. So if that is actually happening, I would expect and hope that the child is not put into a police car.
Elizabeth continues, and this is probably the most important part of her email. I agree with you that some of the protest tactics are counterproductive and that they'll make things worse. I'm frustrated because I know they'll never listen, but that doesn't mean no one is trying to get it right. A friend of mine attended upstander training where she learned that it's counterproductive to taunt ICE agents. Yeah.
You don't need training for that, but yeah, I get the point.
I want to go to one of these trainings, but they seem to be constantly full. As a fifth generation, I can't read, I'm not drunk enough. Minneapolitan. Yeah. I get awfully tired of people who view us as flyover country, constantly talking down to us. So I wanted to provide some of the more granular details I feel were missing from your conversation. Like a lot of people, I just want this to end. My personal life is in a holding pattern because everyone's so busy with ICE. Everything else is on the back burner until who knows when. It's maddening, really. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, and maybe we can post this sort of more granular detail on the Substack, on the chat or something, because that's interesting. We always appreciate that when people come.
I shall. We have a greenie up on the screen. This is from Sullivan MJ, bunch of numbers. saying, talk about that Nazi Northwest professor, Michael.
Okay, there's a couple things here. Number one, we prize you above everybody because you have the green thing.
Yeah.
Number two, because you have a disgusting nickname like Sullivan, so you get front of the line too. The Irish have been systematically discriminated against in this country for a very long time.
But not enough.
It is now time to correct that. So I want to get you to the top of the line for that. There is, okay, so I don't know what this person's talking about, but there was a long time ago, and I presume it's the same person, a Northwestern professor. And tell me if this is right. Maybe Jason can fact check this. A Northwestern professor who was a Holocaust denier, but taught in, I think, the engineering department or something. You know what? What are you going to do? Nothing. Guy's got shitty views. If he's telling people at the university in history classes that the Holocaust never happened and here is the quote unquote evidence, he should be fired. And it's not because of protected academic speech or things like that. To come to that conclusion, one must, be knee to neck deep in falsehoods. It's just, you're teaching people things that are wrong. That's something that I think is a fireable offense. Controversial views that are debatable, it's a different thing. But also, if you have those views and you're very public about them, and you're bringing the university into disrepute, I don't know if there's some contractual thing about that, as people, they always have that in like sports contracts.
That's
right. Get rid of somebody if they're like bringing disrepute to the brand. But if he's not teaching it and it's not in his class and he has crackpot views, you let him stay. I think this is the same person. There was one at UMass actually, but when I was there, who I think was in some science department who was a Holocaust denier.
Oh.
And those types of people, you just let them go and let them do their thing, provided they're not doing. The problem, of course, is, and this is where it's good to have fire and people like Greg Lukianoff to talk about this stuff specifically, is that there's a number of people in the humanities who tell you things endlessly that are just flat untrue or very easily debunked, or should at least have an adjunct viewpoint.
And there's no sanction.
And there's no sanction for that. I don't think there should be. I think the sanction begins, that's not a sanction, but the closest thing to a sanction, is in the hiring process. If these are people who are drooling psychopaths about politics and they're historians, which is a lot of them. I mean, I had two history professors that were not,
they don't hire historians anymore.
No, and there's a glut of PhDs. You can find good people that aren't obsessed with making a political point when they're teaching a class about, say, the Middle East. That's always the most contentious one. But I think that's the same person.
What's your deal, hater? Apparently.
Oh, he's back. That was the first guy. Deep-pocketed. Throwing the cash around.
Senator.
Imagine this guy at a strip club.
Mark Kelly, speaking of
$4.99.
Irish $4.99.
$5. Is that you trying to save a penny? Doing
is, quote, seriously, unquote, considering running for president. Capitalize that P. What are your thoughts on the party's current potential nominees and how he ranks? My initial thought always is that it is January of 2026.
Yeah.
And the election is in November of 2028. So all such talk is kind of nonsensical, and you should never listen to us about any of that. Anyways, that said.
But don't listen to anyone about that.
What's that?
Don't listen to anyone about that at this time.
Correct.
If you looked in this time frame in 2015, there would be a lot of conversation
about Rand Paul.
And about Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz. Do you remember that?
I do. I wrote about that serially, as they say. I did. Because I've written a lot over the years about this sort of fantasy of the independent, deep-pocketed centrist, the Bloomberg category, and how it's absolutely folly in a time of intense partisanship when people want to hate each other. And so, like, who wants a stupid centrist? Centrists are the most hated of all of them. So it's not satisfying in the least bit. But all that caveats aside, I think Mark Kelly is by far the best candidate so far. Like
from the Democratic side.
Yeah. Because
who would be competitive?
Josh Shapiro is the only one, but he's going to be controversial.
But he's an Israeli agent.
And he was also there last time around, Mark Kelly has been picked on by Pete Hegseth, by Donald Trump, by other people. He's got sort of like the American hero and don't fuck with me kind of vibe to it. Yeah. So he combines these sort of like, don't mess with me, but without being, Christian Bale in whatever the fuck movie that is.
What movie was that?
With the killing and the book, but the thing.
It's incredible how old you seem compared to when we started this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
The
told
one
you,
with the
it's
killing and the guy.
40 years ago. Well, that's based on the book and the
Sure.
designer suits and stuff. You know what I'm talking
I
about.
literally
Patrick Bateman. There
you
you
literally
go.
sound like Joe Biden. You know, the suits.
Hey, with the ice cream.
Yeah. But I want to.
No, Gavin Newsom is he's trying to make his name by like out, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna stand up and be the resistance, whereas Mark Kelly just.
I think we're getting Gavin.
Are we
Newsom. We're trying. We're
Pretty
trying.
decent.
We're making some progress. And Gavin Newsom, by the way, who's been savaged on the internet for sitting like I'm sitting right now.
Oh yeah, crossing his legs.
This is in the new macho
ball cruncher.
in the macho conservatism of 2026. This is very homosexual, I've heard.
I mean, have you met you? Do you want to read this one? Since
I
it
literally
seems to
this
have...
morning was listening to the Pet Shop Boys, so I think that's more.
Look, we went
evidence.
up for $4.99, and we got some kind of horrible first name, I think, there too.
We got to go back to what's your deal hater too, because he upped his game too.
Did he really? Okay.
Do we think between his age, health?
But you named the name.
Oh,
You
is it
can't read
Liam
it.
Smith?
It looks like a Liam.
Okay, not to be confused with the last colonial governor of Rhodesia, Ian Smith.
Oh,
Right.
or
So
maybe
Liam Smith, 4017. Do we think
$5 level.
at $5 level? Do we think between his age, health, and political opponents that Trump will actually finish his second term? Liam, I had the same conversation this morning. What do you think, Matt? I mean, we did. If you haven't listened to the last episode, we had a conversation about the kind of folly of impeachment. And, you know, it's a necessary mechanism. And was it you or Nick Gillespie always to say you should impeach more?
That's, I think maybe Nick, definitely Catherine Mangu Ward, though.
Yeah, Catherine's a big.
And Kmele, too. He's
in the Reason universe, a lot of people want to impeach. But, you know, it's not as if you lacked for a case. And we talked about Clinton and the response from voters, which was to give Clinton a big boost in the midterms. There are a lot of cases here. There's a lot of things that are just nakedly corrupt that are really worrying. And I will kind of repeat what I said the other day. I still believe that the closest that Donald Trump will get, or the place that I worry most of ignoring courts, would be the tariff decision, because he uses it so frequently and so punitively that if that tariff decision goes against him, I was very confident that it wouldn't. Yesterday, the more I thought about it, I'm losing a bit of confidence in that they'll try to kind of split the baby in a way. I hope they don't. I hope they do this in the way that it should be done. And that power should be with the Congress, and IEPA should be like actual emergencies. And by the way, it's really funny because I've compared Trump in a lot of ways to Chavez. And I was on with Josh Zepps the other day, our dear Australian friend.
Zippo,
right? Zeppo Max. He said, he mentioned Perón. And I know that Jonah Goldberg has said this, it's a Peronist kind of thing. But that is, when you look at Chavez, you take the emergency power of the cadena, which is taking over all the televisions and radio, which was something that was created for emergencies, like real emergencies. There's a mudslide in Maracaibo or whatever, that they did that then for everything. And it just, we take over the television all the time. That is the Chavista analog to using IEPA for literally everything. It's an emergency that we don't have Greenland. So therefore I'm going to threaten these tariffs and back off of them. Taco. But yeah, I think that it is an administration that you suspect, well, yeah, this is one that you can see maybe the wheels really coming off of it. It's so different this time around. It is so different this time around. And I was trying to go through those things in my head the other day, but it's not even in the same universe as the first term.
I agree with that. Although I think the biggest difference has just been in is the enabling around him. I mean, Mike Johnson came out, I think yesterday it was, because there's a few Republican congressmen who are like, hey, you know what? We'd like to vote on tariffs. That seems like a thing. And he's like, I don't see any reason. I think Trump has done tariffs perfectly. So there's no reason to ever even talk about it on the floor anymore. Just
Resign. We don't need to.
Resign. I said on Twitter, and some people got mad at me for using the word hound. I was saying he should be hounded out of office. Like, that's fascist. Like, no, it's just like
Hounding is fascist?
Apparently.
It's hounding.
I don't know. It sounds
It's just, I think that is being relentlessly a dick.
Yeah, be relentlessly a
That's
dick
not
to
what I
Mike
would
Johnson.
call Hitler.
Yeah,
He was just relentlessly a dick.
and he was as well. To answer your question, I don't know. I think he'll probably serve out his term. He seems physically healthier now than Joe Biden was at this time in his presidency. I know a lot of people are trying to say, "Oh, he's lost his mind," whatever.
Yeah.
He's more. I don't think Biden would have been able to do this morning's what was it, the what, something for peace, his new peace board.
Oh, the peace board.
He introduced the peace board today. It's
Yeah.
stellar group, just
But
like
by the way, is there
Turkmenistan and like Armenia and
is there anything more corrupt than having a board of peace, which would presumably be a good thing to solve these vexing international problems, but to be a permanent member, it costs $1 billion. It's like, what is this? The Soho House for scumbags?
Does that money go straight to like the Venezuela
I don't know.
offshore account?
Maybe it'll like build a community rec center in Nook.
Oil is
Who
going.
knows?
We've got a lot of color up here.
Yeah, but this is
Islamomisia.
Islamomisia.
That's 10 pounds. Do we
Yeah.
recognize that?
No.
No, I think we have to.
No, it's our anniversary of independence. How dare you?
Islamomisia. Okay, I'll buy again. As you missed my last 10-pound contributions. Will you have Sam Harris on soon? Also, Matt, say Iran.
Yeah.
Iran. I'll do. You give me money, I will say Iran. If I'm going to talk about it in casual conversation, it's not going to
You
happen.
really are a prostitute.
No,
Give me money and I'll do whatever you want.
She gave me the pronunciation on the screen.
Yeah. Okay, Iran. Say it properly. And also, funny that our British compatriot said that. We had a conversation the other day about getting Sam on the show when he's in town. He lives in LA. I had him on my show and it did incredibly well. People loved it. And, you know, the good thing about Sam is that he's so hated by people because there's a certain number of people who view him as kind of a turncoat, you know, because he was like big on the anti-woke stuff, but he hates Trump. And I think that is
big on atheism, and he really loves mindfulness.
That is a weird one. Yeah, that one. He'll explain that too. Yeah, I got to get that app because I'm so angry. And Sam is so calm.
You're beyond apps.
You think I could? You don't think I put the headphones on?
Imagine, it's like you at the end of Mad Men, just like
yeah. Oh, that's the end of it. I haven't seen it.
Oh
no, I just started watching it. First
really?
time. Yeah.
Oh,
what is that? What did he do? Does he kill someone? Oh,
don't tell Michael.
I just started watching it 2 nights ago.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, okay, because I've been pressured, I've been bullied into it,
Okay.
And so the more I was told to, it's like Candace Owens. The more I was told, I said no, I'm not watching this, and finally I gave in after a long, protracted negotiation with Mark Rutte about it. I'm now watching it, but Sam is also interesting because he annoyed a lot of the people who stayed with him because he gave Trump credit after the hostage deal in Gaza. And he said, look, you know, you can't be somebody who's irrational about this stuff. And people think he is irrational. And for those of you who haven't watched it, the Free Press did a very good and actually pretty interesting, because they're both really smart people, debate between Ben Shapiro and Sam Harris. Now, I think 10 years ago, I would have heard that and be like, oh, who wants to watch this, you know, internet? And then you realize that Ben was always like a smart guy.
Yeah.
And if you agree with him or disagree with him, he's a thoughtful guy. And I have an incredible amount of respect for him because he really sticks to his principles. And there's a lot of, you know, incentive to not do that now, particularly in that space. So I admire both of them. And it's a pretty feisty debate, but it's worth watching. But we'll get him. That's in 20 pounds brings him here. I hear 30 pounds.
Look at this, $19.99 now for What's Your Deal, Hater? Wow.
Yeah. Oh man, this guy
Holy
found
cow, dude, that
money.
The day trade. He was an original Bitcoin miner.
No, this guy is like clearly a scam.
It's because this is America. Say Iran how you want.
I love. You know what the best thing about America is that, you know, I know one of them is British, so I shouldn't say this. but there is a bidding war on how you should pronounce a word.
It's really funny.
Capitalism is friggin' great.
Just again, I will point out I was 11 years old in 1979, and Southern California, especially punk rock, had 1,000 super angry anti-Ayatollah songs, and none of them were going with Iran.
Yeah.
That was not how that was.
My brother's straight edge band had an anti-Mike Dukakis song.
That's so good.
Not even joking. Nuke the Duke.
What's the color coding here, Jason? So like, are you
Stellar amount.
okay? But you were going to the high bids. I trust. Right.
Let's go through them.
Okay. I just want to make sure we get to CJ because I know he's going to talk about Van Halen.
Lord, it's feudalism here.
Late March, bunch of numbers. Says predictions on AI in 2026, bubble, unemployment, etc. That's obviously my specialty, Michael.
And by the way, you said late March, bunch of it literally is just the number 3.
Okay, late March,
one number.
3.
Predictions on AI. This is a mug's game, by the way, predicting stuff on AI. You get it wrong every time. I think the shakeout, which is going to be pretty obvious, is the number of people who drop AI into every company now because they presume that that's what the people want. That's what investors want. And I went to a very good free speech conference at Vanderbilt.
Done by our friend Jacob
Mishingama, Jakob, a Dane. But it was funny. I was making a joke halfway through it. It was everything became about AI. It was like free speech and AI. How free speech and AI. And there's like some really interesting parts of that. Tyler Cowen spoke. Tyler is
He's crazy.
bullish on AI, and he said he writes for AI because to train the AI, which seems like
we've lost Tyler. That's my prediction.
Well, it seems like an eyedropper in the ocean kind of thing. You're writing for AI. Like I don't know. He has a big audience, so maybe that actually has a disproportionate effect. But I will only use this opportunity to promote our friend Andy Mills and his podcast, which is millions of downloads now, won an Apple award for a best episode of the year, and it's called The Last Invention. And his new media company, Longview, is doing incredible stuff. They're working on a bunch of cool projects that I just found out about. I'm really excited about those too. But he's an amazing storyteller. And if you think that AI is tedious and boring and too complicated and too techie for you, listen to this podcast. And I'm not just saying that because he's our buddy. I did because he was coming on the show. And then I was like, oh, I actually really, really like this. And I listened to the whole thing. And they have recorded a couple of extra adjunct episodes that will be coming soon. One of which he told me about the other day, which I will not reveal, but it's going to be a barn burner. It's really cool.
My prediction is that more people in your universe will use it for writing email, and you will notice it and be totally annoyed, and even texts, and you'll be constantly annoyed by it and value the people who know how to write an American sentence.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's kind of an interesting thing too, because I was talking to a writer who's, a pretty prominent political journalist, and said that they used AI for writing for one thing, which I thought was actually a pretty good use case. I'd never done this. I don't use it for that at all. Is writing your piece, cutting and pasting it into AI and saying, what are the obvious either grammatical or punctuation errors? And that's
like what's the flaccid, overused language?
Yeah, that one I don't know if I trust so much, but yeah, I think that there's going to be that kind of normal kind of cleansing of a market that is overhyped. Is it overvalued? Not for me to say, but there's some really amazing stuff happening in AI. One of the most interesting ones, if there are people out there who like coding and experimenting with this stuff, as I do and always have, is that Claude, one of these AI chatbots, they have a kind of a separate thing for coding, which is really phenomenal. And I was making an internal thing for us to search transcripts of our old shows. And I was using kind of open source software and stuff on GitHub and kind of toying with it. And then I was like, what if I tried Claude and said, here's my situation. And the prompts are what's important, a very detailed prompt. And it created a Perl script that worked. It was astonishing. So learn to code is no longer great advice. Learn to give good AI prompts. It was astonishing. Yeah.
That's pretty good. All right. This was from, I believe, Gian Cook. Kind of can't really read the names very well. Michael and Matt. Hi from Silver Lake. All right. You know, a fun fact about Silver Lake, Gian Cook, I lived in it and around it for, I think, more than 5 years before I was like, wait, is this a gay neighborhood? I
Yeah.
have the worst gaydar on the. It was like
Yeah.
go by the same bathhouse every day.
Yeah. If I swear on this, Jason, do we get demonetized or something?
We already swear.
No, because it just reminds me of that Onion headline. I'm not going to say it because I don't know. They'll probably ban us or something.
What and why drives this sort of realist revisionist take on geopolitics from the Mearsheimer, Jeff Sachs camp? I would delineate those two people versus the conventional Applebaum, Zion Frum camp. A lot of adjectives we're going to argue over here. You can keep that up
Yeah,
for
go
me,
back
Jason,
that.
because it's important to get the names right. Mearsheimer's a realist who I think is wrong a lot of the times. Jeff Sachs, not the free speech guy, but the guy who
was a Columbia economist,
Columbia economist who very pugilistically advised Russia and other Eastern European governments for an afternoon or two in the 1990s, and then became Noam Chomsky. That's a different Noam Chomsky / Scott Ritter. I think Mearsheimer is sort of wrong.
So one that was on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, the other one who wished he was on Jeffrey Epstein's
pretty
plane.
much. So what drives that? I mean, I think obviously a large part of it is just sort of working backwards from America's the biggest elephant in the room, and so you're going to the same thing that like drives Chomsky and Ron Paul and Glenn Greenwald, and you just sort of like work backwards from the power, and you do it from a position of assuming that the discussion around that power is propagandistic or self-interested in a way where you can you scroll back there, Jason? Sorry, it's just a hard one to delineate. So I understand how they get to where they're getting there. And also conventional Applebaum and Applebaum Zion Frum camp. That's very Wilsonian interventionist, and neoconservative. So it's conventional neoconservative for sure. But they place America at the center of the story as well, and want to use it constantly to sort of be the guiding force in the world. It's a natural divide between those two things.
I haven't talked to Frum in a very long time, or read him as much. I mean, he became much more political about the contemporary American political scene. But I would say that I think that it's probably true that David Frum has learned some lessons from Iraq, because people just love to beat him up. He wrote the Axis of Evil speech, which his wife famously said publicly, and that became, the cudgel to beat him with. And
also he wrote the Unpatriotic Conservatives.
The Unpatriotic Conservatives in National Review, which was an attack on
Pat Buchanan.
And people of that kind of ilk, who are people who are kind of ascendant right now. But I think that there has been some less. Neoconservative. I never considered Anne Applebaum a neoconservative. I think she's a Eastern Europe specialist, and she's married. People don't realize this. She's married to the Polish foreign minister, Radek Sikorski. So my Polish is rusty at this point.
Does he own a helicopter?
Yeah, he does. He's all a big Polish mafia, but he has been obviously very influential, and they've been influential on each other. He came to America in the 80s. He wrote for National Review as a Polish dissident, a very, very young Polish dissident. She's written a number of books on Russia. She's an expert on the subject, unlike, I would say, Jeffrey Sachs. Jeffrey Sachs is somebody who I believe is entirely motivated by politics. I can't speak to Applebaum. I haven't spoken really to her, or no. I mean, I reviewed one of her books one time on, I think it was on the Ukrainian famine, but she's an actual expert in this. But these are people who have made mistakes, and I will, beat them up for that, for a lot of the things they said that have been wrong. But I also think that they do see the world when it comes to Eastern Europe in the same way that I do, whereas Jeffrey Sachs just kind of came out of nowhere, and they create these elaborate arguments on why the rape victim deserved the rape. And there's a kind of, in the back twisting their mustache, the United States is behind all of it too. Had we not provoked Russia, they wouldn't have done X, Y, and Z. And there's Russia could take the rest of Georgia tomorrow, and because they've already taken parts of it, and they have a very, Russia sympathetic government in the Georgia Dream Party. They could take that and the rest of the land tomorrow, and they would find a reason that it was our fault.
Mearsheimer.
I don't
go
read
read
people like that.
His interviews with Isaac Chotiner. I don't know why he keeps subjecting himself to that, or anyone else does.
I interviewed him and Stephen F. Cohen at the same time.
Oh,
yeah, fun. For Vice. Yeah. And they were saying that Pussy Riot deserved it.
Mearsheimer thinks that the Monroe Doctrine is good. I don't know if he explicitly said the Donroe Doctrine is good yet, but he kind of likes that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Morally neutral. Wow.
Okay.
Pretty good handle there. For $13.99 Californian, or is that Canadian?
Canadian.
Should be. What do you think might be an effective way to deal with the broken, perverse incentive structures that seem to erode truth and trust?
That's our
That's an
mission.
easy question.
Yeah, that's
Jonathan,
a
you
French goodbye at the beginning.
Holy.
That's a French beginning, right? Wow.
The French.
That is France, all the colonies, and Quebec of a question. Yeah.
Part of it is definitely on the demand side. That's we've always argued. I've always argued, and our friends who had us at the Demand for Bullshit conference.
In Florida. Yeah.
Down in Florida, have like you need to try to seek out and reward those people and institutions who are doing their level best and helping the conversation along, and encourage others to do likewise. If you prove that there's demand for that kind of thing, then it will help fill the space. But that's not.
I think voters have to do a bunch of heavy lifting here, because I think that when Trump comes back, and there's a lot of reasons, and we've discussed these, and then wins the popular vote, surprising everybody. I think that was a signal to a lot of people that like unrestrained bullshit is fine. We'll vote for it. We'll have it in the White House. We'll vote for it for the Senate and for the House. And when you see the volume of the bullshit that we've seen recently, and that crumbling people's confidence, Trump's general approval ratings going down, approval ratings on immigration going down, approval ratings on foreign policy that were high and then going down, particularly on Greenland is in the toilet. I do think that we can be very, very confused by the numbers and by this idea that we're incentivized to watch Candace Owens and these types of people. There are a lot of people that watch that show. Are there a lot of people that take her seriously? There are a lot of people that say, oh, the time traveler, that Charlie Kirk was a time traveler. That's a pretty interesting, I think she's on to something. No, I think a lot of these clips get a lot of views because the woman is clearly mentally ill. And like, why are we, it's like watching a crazy person on the subway, but they just have a nice studio.
A crazy person on the subway today, as I was listening to a message, was like, sort of jabbering at me. I couldn't hear, I couldn't listen, and called me Tom Cruise.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, definitely crazy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. You look just like him.
I mean,
yeah.
You don't see it?
Later, we can get into the fact that Matt had a brief sojourn as a Ben Affleck lookalike in his younger years.
Celebrity lookalike.
But no, it was before anyone knew him. It was like in Massachusetts. Yeah. No, but that idea that these people carry a lot of weight in the conversation, is it troubling that Tucker Carlson is in the White House? Yes, twice in the past couple of weeks. Are Trump's policies, when it comes to foreign policy, being influenced by Tucker Carlson? Well, sometimes I think they are, and sometimes I think they're not. So yeah, this is troubling that this kind of influence. But in the media landscape, you'll notice certain things. I texted our dear buddy Jonathan, who's sitting over there, about Ezra Klein. Now, I disagree with a lot of stuff that Ezra Klein says. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's much more of an honest actor these days than when he was a young guy trying to make his way in the pundocracy. And when you wrote a profile of him for the Columbia Journalism Review, and he had an interview with Yuval Levin, who's a conservative kind of intellectual, and it was fantastic. It was really, really smart. And wherever I was looking at it, had 400,000 views or something. This is like a deep dive on policy, on economics, on sort of real issues. And that was one platform. Now, granted, the New York Times is behind it. New York Times is this enormous, there probably somebody mistakenly clicks on that when they're trying to play Wordle, maybe. But there is an enormous hunger for stuff where there's kind of non-crazy. I know what the incentives are, but the incentives are to fight these people. The incentives are not to be these people.
Yeah.
Because in the long run, Candace Owens isn't being invited to conservative events. She's not being invited even to the Heritage. They know that this is toxic, but the incentive that I think is perverse is the people to go in there and be like, I'm going to make a response video, which keeps this nonsense above everything else because it gets a ton of clicks. I get that. People like the drama. It's Real Housewives of politics. I don't want to be part of that at all anymore. We used to talk about Candace Owens before she had a really big audience and a really corrosive influence, before she went straight up Julia Streicher anti-Semite. And now it's only in response to a question like this, because that's just not who we are. We don't want to be in that sort of, dungeon of stupid politics, and we want to get beyond that. And I think that's happening with a lot of people. So
I would say just quickly, like, marinating in a bunch of Revolutionary War shit is obviously very fun and great. And you get to these debates and Common Sense, which is a wonderful pamphlet, and all these other things. And then you remember the great video that we made for Reason. I didn't have anything to do with it, but Michael did. Attack Ads 1800 of the
that was mostly a Nick thing. Yeah.
But you did one of the voices.
Yeah, I did the voiceover.
Of Thomas Jefferson versus John Adams, the horrible things that they were saying, and also the way that media was being totally scurrilously manipulated and joining these things too.
For sure.
Self-government is a bitch, and you have to fight to keep it. This is Taylor Godwin. Whoa, boy, 6933. That's just a bunch of numbers.
That's a good one. That's my favorite.
For 1999. Question for MN.
Do you fear that we're becoming QVC all of a sudden?
Is that a fear? Is it really a fear? It's fulfillment.
Joan Rivers would come on after us and sell jewelry.
Taylor keeps missing the second Sunday. A while ago, you said it was just a shitty time in American politics. He puts that in quotes.
Mm-hmm.
We will eventually move past. Do you still feel that way? At what point are we at a point of no return?
I don't think we're at a point of no return. I still absolutely feel that way. That was, just to be clear, that was directed at me because I apparently said that. Sounds like something I'd say. I believe in the resilience of this country.
Could you do that to a stirring kind of gospel thing?
I told Jason when I said that to put the music in.
Auto-tune.
To just do a big swelling strings. No, I do. I mean, we will get through this, and how will it end is different, and a different question, and an important question too, but it's a different question than can we get through this? Again, this is embarrassing. Like, that speech was an embarrassment. It was a national embarrassment, the Trump at Davos speech. We can get through that. My worry that I keep on saying is, like, what is he going to do with the tariff decision when the court, that will be a test. I don't think the tests right now have been of the existential kind of, when you take them as a group, when you start doing this stuff. I was kind of aggregating this the other day because we had been talking about, doing a, point by point of all the insane things that are kind of been overlooked in the sheer volume of them. Yeah, it worries me. And I get the question. But no, I believe that there's an amazing resilience built into the American system that one kind of lunatic cannot, collapse. I don't think so. You see a few Republicans going in the right direction. I am horrified that there haven't been more, particularly because you have a legacy that you have to think of. You don't have to. You're thinking about Donald Trump. You're thinking about being primaried, but also, why is this job so important to you? Do the thing that most of these scumbags did in the past. And Donald Trump, by the way, in his first term, said something pretty great when he came in, that there should be a ban on creating a lobby firm after your first and only 2-year stint in Congress, which I was like, sure, that's good, because it incentivizes people in a bad way. But that never happened. But that kind of thing, do your 2 years, get your MAGA friends, hang out with Marjorie Taylor Greene, start your lobbying company, and be a scumbag. But why do you care about this so much that you can't stand on conservative principle, not my principles, conservative principles about free markets, about individual freedom, civil liberties, the basic things that, the power of the presidency. Imagine that. That was the fear of Barack Obama, cash for clunkers, General Motors being government motors.
The pen and the phone.
The pen and the phone.
Trump has used more than any president since FDR.
Yeah. I mean, will these people stand up for themselves? We're seeing a little more of it. I don't expect an exodus, but also there are a lot of, in the past, the first go, the number of people in the Senate, and you can name a number of these people too, a number of whom that we've had interactions with, who tried to stand on principle and then they had to go, the Jeff Flakes of the world, et cetera, Ben Sasses of the world. But now they've been kind of replaced by people who are not in a situation where they have to compromise their values. Those are their values. There was a space of time where the next crop of people coming into Congress are going to be MAGA true believers because they're absolute idiots.
Did you see Lindsey Graham like saying to his European colleague, "Come on, take a joke"? He's like literally doing that. Come on, guy.
Yeah, yeah.
CJ Chivers. I can never tell.
He Chivers from the New York Times.
It's fantastic. He says,
Is that the same guy?
Just wanted to thank you for the Van Halen debate. It's one of the our greatest Van Halen chroniclers. CJ is.
Oh, wait. Did he write a book about? Oh my God, we had a conversation about him. The New York Times guy.
New York Times.
But there's a Chivers at the New York Times. But
anyways, he knows all about Van Halen. One thing that he said.
You know what I bet he loved? That, you know, people who are really deep into it, they write books about it. They're the kind of scholars of it. They love a little bit of Gary Sharon love.
Of course, you got
There's a little bit of Gary. Yeah.
But CJ's pointed out a sadness, which is that apparently the estate is they're real jerks about like copyright. They're hunting down anyone using unauthorized stuff on YouTube, like way more than
Print
done
kind of thing.
CJ, if I'm misrepresenting you, you can correct me, but that's what I recall from the conversation. But, you're welcome, Van Halen. We'll talk any old time. In addition to other weird shit.
One other funny thing.
Do you have a microphone?
Yeah, but don't get him a microphone. I don't want a microphone for him.
He can
no microphone. It's got to be like Steven Tyler.
No, he could do the Garrett Morris on top.
Yeah. I want Steve. Yeah, no. That's why in the middle. That seems like a lot of effort, but all right.
This is not working.
Oh, but what is it?
Oh, you're getting back to late March 3 because we have community about predictions.
One thing I want to say, one Van Halen thing, where it says, if you want to see something extremely funny related to Van Halen, there is a great bit on YouTube of Bill Hader telling his story about David Lee Roth visiting the South Park writer's room, and then a thing about Alex Van Halen, who I found out somebody I know was the ghostwriter of Alex Van Halen's book, and she said he's an absolutely lovely person.
It's a very good book. I got it for Christmas.
She's a great writer, so props to her. All right, well,
keep walking us through here, Michael. While
about Van Halen.
No, just read a question.
Well, this one we've already read that one. So maybe if Scott, do you want to scroll for us? Can you scroll? Is that possible? Do you know how to do that? Probably
hold this.
What was the take on the 2026 AI bubble?
Well, let's hear yours.
You're doing that tonight. Is it a bubble?
No, not doing that tonight. Actually, it's a specific. It is, yes. Tonight's AI thing is a conversation about free speech, which is in the context of AI, particularly.
Free speech and AI.
That's what I talked about.
The AI bubble, I mean, there's certainly something weird about the way AI is structured as an industry. Like the economics of OpenAI are kind of bizarre. Like it's too expensive to sustain itself with its current customers, despite the fact that it's had this explosive growth. That's strange and seems like a dynamic that absolutely has to change, way over leveraged. And at the same time, AI is also the thing that's working in the economy, like almost nothing else is.
Healthcare.
Well, I don't know if that's quite the same. Like it's just all the explosive growth in the economy is in these data centers. And if there is some sort of shakeup there, there's a huge vulnerability. So I don't know about a bubble, but it's weird.
Kevin O'Leary just invested a lot of his cash in a data center in Alberta or something.
Yeah.
He's Canadian, so he has these. But you know, he that was his big thing. He's a data center. That's his. I don't know what that means.
I'm not sure they're building anything else but data centers.
Do you think the Republican Party? This is Dak Jack M7M. And by the way, Jason, I was trying to read something that was covered that said, "Is Moynihan morphing into Martin?" And I was like, Luther King? I wanted to I don't know what the Martin was.
Safe bet that's
but
not
that,
it.
yeah.
Maybe Martin Amos.
Yeah. Could be Martin Amos.
Yeah.
Martin, I would hope be Martin Amos.
Martin Gurry. Martin
A
Lawrence.
positive thing. Do you think the Republican Party needs to have a truth and reconciliation moment post-Trump, or is this still a both sides issue for you?
The presumption smuggled into the question. That's
I don't
good.
know if it's a both sides issue for me, I think that both parties have a lot to answer for always. That would be a both sides issue. But I think the truth and reconciliation moment post-Trump for the Republican Party is at the ballot box. And that voters have to organize themselves and realize that the lies about the wonderful economy and look,
the election and everything else.
The election and God knows what elections to come. If there's a wipeout in the midterms, the man denies elections when he wins. So I expect that it's going to happen again. But this kind of stuff of like the truth and reconciliation kind of moment is when no one talks about something, which is what I always say about COVID. People say, yeah, no, everyone talks about COVID. And it's like, no, they don't in your world, in our world. But in the regular world, normal people don't know. And I always make this point, there was no central communication that said, stop wearing gloves and washing your fucking groceries. It just kind of seeped into, and that's kind of how we dealt with it after, is that the school thing, which I know you're very bullish on, Matt, is I think that thing should be investigated. But as far as something like this, we actually have that mechanism, and that is the ballot box. I think the ballot box is how we reconcile with our political opposites. And I think that Republicans have to come to a point where they say, what does our party stand for, that it differentiates itself from the Democratic Party. And the reason I say that is because Donald Trump is having very, very nice phone calls with Elizabeth Warren about capping interest rates on credit cards. And she's like, oh yeah, he's fantastic on this. And they love him on trade issues and they love him on this. It's like, if you start differentiating yourself as the other party again on economic issues, owning industries, you pointed out 14, that's our government invested, 14. That's terrible. And the party has to take that back. And the party has to say the imperial presidency is what the party should be against. And there were people in the Republican Party who said that about George W. Bush. There were people at the Cato Institute, which is not a Republican institution, a libertarian one, that were brutal, including our friend Gene Healy on the imperial presidency. Until you have people that want to curtail that stuff, the truth and reconciliation is just going to be, we have two parties that are actually, because people always say this, the same thing. No, on economic issues, they're blurring. There's nothing that Bernie Sanders could say as an economic policy, as a suggestion, that I couldn't imagine Josh Hawley or somebody in that ilk adopting themselves. That's a problem.
I think that there's a bunch I'm never the target audience, but there's a bunch of people whose political careers I would like to salt the earth with, that their behavior over the past X number of years are enough to disqualify them, in my view. I feel internally very Kevin Williamson about this, even if I don't always express it externally about this is what you should do or else you're a bad person, which Kevin tends to do a little bit.
The presumption that the truth and reconciliation processes actually work, as an event, seems really important to address.
Which
and the South Africa example is,
do they work? It's not an event; it's a disposition. There's not any one occurrence. It's a willingness to actually engage with this kind of process of reality.
Yeah, it's true.
The question about stool needs to be addressed, Jason. You should not skip that one. I don't know what kind of weird stuff you guys are getting.
No, read. This is for you, Kmele.
Late March 3, we get solo episodes with MM and Welch, and guests with their interest. Will we get Kmele episodes? He mentioned liking DBH.
Who's DBH?
David Bentley Hart.
Who?
Oh, yeah.
Is that?
He's a theologian. He's really brilliant. Also just a miraculous writer. He wrote one of his last books, is a very big book that I've been wrestling through. All Things Are Full of God.
Get him on.
And
get him on.
Yeah, it's good.
If you're wrestling, that's the best point for an interview. Right?
Yeah.
If you're I hate this, I love this, I want to argue, the wrestling, get him on.
A massive tome about consciousness. Yes is the answer. And you got that Kanye episode. We'll release the uncut version of that. That'll give you something to chew on.
You'll be chewing for about 6 weeks. That was the length of a Bergman movie.
It's very long.
That was a long one.
OJ Simpson for $5. This is a question for both of you. I'm sorry, there's three of us here.
No, this goes for the both of you.
Straight to Kmele. What has the quality of your stool been like recently? One of the legs got a little bit loose.
Not what he's asking.
By the way,
answer.
I just want you to know there's one thing where you get in the super chat and we answer your question because you gave us money. When you go to the strip club and you get a lap dance, you still have to behave. She will withdraw the lap dance and keep the money.
That's true. Someone will throw you out of the club.
You can get thrown out of the club.
Yeah. I know this from experience, not because I got thrown out of a club. I don't even know where they are. That's fine.
I can give you a very detailed map. Liam Smith, 417. This doesn't quite approach my strip club analogy, but the question, because it does have a question mark, that is sock, sock, shoe, shoe, or sock, shoe, sock, shoe. Liam, I got to say, I have literally never thought of that.
Sock, sock, shoe, shoe.
It's sock, sock, shoe, shoe. This is easy.
I
Your shoes are by the door. You put on your socks in the house. You sock, sock, shoe, shoe.
It's all in the same space. Which bridge does he want? I think he's like a Tappan Z guy.
Even to ask the question is weird.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of weird shit are you into? You too are asking questions about stool in your own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lindy Kirk, bunch of numbers for $4.99 in the process.
You announced this like you're a fucking auctioneer.
$4.99.
I want to tell people what stakes are because there's going to be some. Are we going to release this as an audio thing? No, this is it.
With those people,
Ride or die. Okay.
Yeah.
They got mad last time we did that. In the process of adopting 2 girls, 11 and 7, how do I lay a foundation for rational, critical thinking early on? I don't want little extremists.
Dude.
Yes, you do.
My
daughter's an extremist.
That's a problem.
My daughter started a John Birch Society at her school.
That's good.
No, don't.
Oh, that gumption.
Don't do that.
No, you do that.
Don't.
Do
I disagree.
that.
No, I just don't lay any foundation for rational, critical thinking at 7 years old.
No.
11, I think, is different, but 7, just let them have fun. And then the thing is, I think that with most kids and I know you guys have different experiences, interested to hear what kind of fucking political gulag they're going through in California.
It's called the propaganda operation.
But if they are just in the milieu of good, smart, rational thought, when it comes to the point where they have to make those decisions, they tend to be surprisingly good at it. That's my experience. I only have one kid, but I never talk politics with her, ever. And maybe I should have, because I think she might be a Nazi. I'm not sure. Levy, I'm kidding. That's why it's not going live. But she has like really very specific ideas about things, and she's 14, and I've never spoken to her about politics. And she'll ask me questions. At that age, 11, I think is a little early, but when they start asking you questions, of course,
answer the questions. Yeah.
But I always hated those books that conservatives did. And by the way, were pilloried. I used to mention this a lot. There was an article in the New York Times about it in 2002 or 3, that there was a book that a publisher, and it wasn't even a mainstream publisher, put out, it said, "Help Mom, there's liberals under the bed."
Yeah.
And there was this pearl clutching kind of, and then now go into the bookstore in Fort Greene.
It's grisly.
And it's like baby books.
Yes.
These letter books. I found a picture of this that was on my phone. And it was like a kid's book I took from when Levy was young. And the first page was A is for activism. And it was like,
It's
an apple.
Anti-racist baby.
Yeah. And it was like that kind of stuff has now been so normalized to make your kid into like a member of a Maoist cadre.
Yes.
Who's probably going to denounce you to their school.
Yeah.
That's bad.
I think those projects will fail. But on one hand, I actually agree with what you said. I just think that you are skipping over the importance of the step you're describing, like surrounding them in like a milieu of rational thought, et cetera, et cetera. That's a project in and of itself. Like
you don't think about it. That's what I think is different.
I actually do think about it. One, because I wanted to run the propaganda operation on them, and it failed spectacularly with Leah by the time she was 2.5. All I wanted to do was all I wanted to do initially was just keep her away from like mindless cartoons and that sort of garbage, and just feed her feed her Motown music and never have to listen to like dumb lullabies. And that didn't work because she just gravitated towards Elmo. He's interesting for someone of her age, but what I found is you can give them you can place stones in the streams of their lives. Like these interesting aphorisms and ideas that they may not fully understand.
Can you say that in a preacher voice?
Yeah.
These interesting aphorisms and the ideas
in the stream of your life.
But no, but
more of a
seriously, these you can give them these interesting ideas that they may not fully comprehend, but that they grok the shape of. And it'll be familiar to them. And at some point later in their life, they'll realize it. We talked about Levia watching or experiencing Animal Farm because she didn't watch it. You guys read it.
You read it.
And the first time you read
read
it,
Animal.
and the first time you read
Animals.
it, like there are animals and they're talking and it's weird.
Not with me,
It's
not.
it's the
I'm
second.
like, that pig is Stalin. And they're like,
There's
cool.
something about like the
Malenkov
third,
came in.
there's something about the third and the fourth reading of it and the time where you finally get it in school where something clicks. And I would
She
both.
got that in school. That was a
Yeah.
school reading, which I explained the kind of allegory to her because I think it's important.
Mhm.
But I think the only difference in this, is pretty similar, is to do it in an instructional way.
Yes.
And we're going to sit down, we're going to talk about this, that if it comes up, if it's, I just, when they're a certain age, I think there's often a time where there's kind of blowback that has the opposite effect. You know, it's always the thing, the conservative family, you know, Bill Ayers, from the Weather Underground, his father was the head of like the power company in Chicago or in all of Illinois, maybe. I mean, Jason's interviewed him. But like that was the old trope from the 60s, you know, the stuffy Mad Men character parents, and then I'm going to tear off these shackles and burn everything down and become a member of Weather or something.
Right.
But like, I think that if you're really didactic about it, it's probably not good. But in the sense of like just talking things through if you're asked, but then when they get interested in politics, like my daughter asked me for a login to the New York Times today. And it's because she likes Wordle and Strands and these other games. And I'm like, oh, this will be good. Because maybe she has to open the app to get there and there'll be news stories. And every time that happens, she ends up reading them or asking me about them. But rather than pushing the stuff on her, do you see this kind of stuff? I just think that can either backfire, it's quite annoying. But I think that if they're in a good environment and if you've created that environment, so it's a similar thing.
Yeah.
But it's just about how you approach it in a kind of heavy-handed way, just a passive way.
It doesn't need to be nakedly political.
No.
But Leah, from the time she was like 6, and Cohen from the time almost from the moment he could actually speak in sentences, like I gave them both this thing. And I almost did it as a joke where they can say, for each fire is all fires, the first fire and the last ever to be. And it's something.
And the Jews controlled the slave.
No, not that one.
She said that to me.
But I gave them. Well, she didn't get that from me.
Yeah,
that's Candace.
She's an
Owens.
NOI.
That's my mom. My mom giving things to her. But that's like it's something I stole from Cormac. It has deep resonance for me, and now it's become something of a like a totem for us as a family, and it is acquiring meaning as they grow up. And I don't think that's inconsequential. And the rational basis question, like how do you give them this basis for becoming these rational, thoughtful actors and living like full, healthy lives? Like I think you do it in the way I just described. It's not explicitly political. It is like in line with like, I want you to be literate and well-read and thoughtful.
But what is the case against giving them that, saying that phrase to them when they're 16, 17, and they have more sort of developed ideas about the world and more developed brains, rather than an incantation when they're younger that they might lose interest in because it's an incantation?
I've seen you both talk to your daughters.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've gleaned from you with respect to your parenting.
That we're bad parents?
No. I'm being very serious. This is an authentic compliment. Is that you've always taken your kids like very seriously.
Yeah.
Like even at a really young age, it was never like talking down to them, and
Never
kind of disregarding their points of
Never,
view.
never.
And I think there's something, there's something about giving them something that has that much heft to it that you have to explore. I mean, even as adults, like I read that passage years ago. I return to it regularly, and every single time I return to it, I get something new. And honestly, like Cohen at 3 can navigate that stuff, and Leah at 8 like can navigate it really capably. And the insights that they give me at that age are pretty astounding. So I throw a lot at them. Some of it sticks and some of it doesn't. It isn't a propaganda operation the way it used to be, but it is, I think, the most important thing that I do as a dad, and the thing that like makes me happiest when I see like these little seeds starting to flourish.
You can still have fun with your
That's it.
kids if you speak to them as adults. By the way,
That is
yeah,
always
it's true.
true.
It's not a binary thing.
My answer to the question is teach them to love how to read and be there to help explain media literacy things that you can't believe just because it came on
Oh, that one is a big one.
red
yeah.
Chinese TikTok that it's to be believed about Gaza or whatever, and then beyond that, keep them off their phones.
That's
11 and 7.
Yes.
Keep them off phones.
Amen.
It's even more important than the poll. Young town car for $10. For the panel, what's with
Larry
the skinny jeans and pants? Love y'all. Keep up the coherent political discussions. I don't even know how to answer that question.
You want genie pants? Like, what is this?
He also for a $5 thing he said you look like Hammer.
That's what
You know? Yeah.
We were going to go with the Westerberg
Wait a minute,
overalls.
these are not skinny jeans for me at all.
It's hard to tell because you're doing the Gavin Newsom.
We-
leg
Yeah, I do the
cross.
Gavin Newsom sit. The ball crusher.
You know, the current trend though is voluminous clothing again. Like we're almost back to
Yeah, it's terrible.
I hate it.
hate it.
Yeah.
I've finally become an old guy
Yeah.
where I was on when I was on Zepp's thing. He sent me a story that I mentioned the other day. The Australian glow. It's in the New York Times.
It's great. It's great.
And it's the funniest thing. You have to look at this thing, and it's literally just people having mustaches and curly hair, and that's like they go to Australia and they grow.
They start as Brits and they're all sunken
Yeah,
and
and
shallow,
like,
and then they go to Australia and
Yeah.
the sun shines and they
but
turn
like
gay.
the clothes, they're all wearing
Yeah.
very baggy
Trash bags.
It's crazy.
Honestly, like clothes.
Women shouldn't wear that. It should be illegal.
This is true. Yoga
This is a lot.
pants forever. Yeah.
If Donald Trump set fire to the Constitution and said, you know what, I'm making a law outlawing these clothes, and I would provide him with like,
Yes.
swatches and shapes, and then they would outlaw them, I would campaign for him
Yeah.
because I don't like that.
Well-tailored clothes never go out of style.
It's really the one and maybe the only real flaw in the Chuck Klosterman argument that the 90s are self-evidently the best decade of all time, which of course is true. But there's a lot of bad baggy clothes. Like everyone dressed pretty bad in
this is true.
1994.
My Levy was watching, I don't know, like 90210 or Gilmore Girls or something. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? They're all wearing like these ballooned out, like acid wash jeans and like headband, like big scrunchies. I was like, oh, I don't remember that.
Friends with the showrunner.
The original showrunner?
The one,
Warren Spelling?
the second one, Scott Kaufman.
Oh, okay.
Finch bunch of numbers. $10. Hey guys, I'm 23. Yes, I know what benevolence means.
I'm sorry, but the word is malevolent.
Y'all could recommend a couple of essential books to combat my generation's brain rot. We got to get some apostrophe work in there, Finch bunch of numbers. Brain rot, it would be much appreciated. Just like, here's a couple of books.
Yes.
And your brain rot will be fixed.
You know Camille's going to say the Bible,
No.
right? She's gonna say the Bible.
Actually, that is an invaluable read.
Christopher Hitchens would say the Bible.
Yeah, I'm sure he would.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah. Yeah. And then write a book about how it's ruining everything.
I just
Well, that's what he did. Yeah.
I listened to a quote from our friend Jack Henneman, who was recently on the podcast in the Revolutionaries miniseries within the podcast. I was listening to his two-part series on the Henry Knox artillery run, the great artillery run, as we all know, going into Dorchester Heights. And he quoted Hitchens talking about the Declaration of Independence and the Bible and the King James translation of the Bible. And Hitchens' quote, which is great, is that King James translation of the Bible, like the Declaration of Independence, are like the only or the best examples of words distilled into poetry that were made by committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
If I could pick two books, the second book would be really hard. The first one, which you're, I think, supposed to read when you're younger, but I would say 1984. The problem with 1984 from a perspective of trying to change people's mind about things is, to quote Hitchens again, is the Orwell body snatchers. He's everybody to everything. Like the right can take him, the left can take him, everyone can take him. So they might find things in that because people are very selective with their messages and books. I mean, it is a novel that it can reinforce bad views by mistake. And you can not know what Orwell, like we saw the trailer for the Animal Farm thing. It's like, thank you for taking the absolute wrong message away from that book. But if you're talking about political books, that's a hard one because I think that a lot of
1984 is not a political.
no, I mean, as a novel versus a book of like political philosophy,
Right,
straight political philosophy kind of thing. You know, there's in libertarian universe, there's like a canon of books, and I avoid those because I think that all of them, almost without exception, you really have to be in it to love it. There's the bridge books, which are, you know, a lot of people, you know, it usually begins with Ayn Rand kind of stuff. But if you're talking about Anarchy, State, and Utopia, if you're talking about even The Road to Serfdom,
Downstream from something.
it's down from something.
Yeah.
So
What
the
about-
challenge of the question is, what is a good book that kind of
accessible and foundational?
Here's one.
Okay.
Stasiland by an Australian writer named Anna Funder, which is an incredibly entertaining book about her time in Berlin and tracking down former members of the Stasi in East Germany. And it paints a funny, depressing, depraved picture of a society that surrendered itself to the state and to totalitarianism. And it is an amazing, amazing book. As a footnote to that, you can make people watch The Lives of Others, which is one of the great movies of that in a political way, although it's not heavy-handed in its politics.
I love that you included a movie because that's actually really valuable.
Better to get to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rausch's Kindly Inquisitors feels like a book that is
great book.
Instantly accessible, and upon rereading it, you'll get more out of it. And I think that if everyone in America read that book, the country would be better off. But I also think that you were right to go to fiction, and I'd probably get even more like esoteric than that. And I think that there's something about like Hamlet and stuff like Cormac's The Crossing that are just these important touchstones for like being present and aware. But to the extent you have those things, I think it gets much harder to become the sort of person who gets their brain hijacked by TikTok. Like if you can interact with that profitably, if you can challenge yourself to read East of Eden and then read it again, it's not even a hard read. It's just the sort of read that you benefit from more via a deep reading. I think that
I'm an old man that way, in the sense of like reading, and I think reading physical copies of books. I mean, I read mostly on Kindle now for a variety of reasons, because I carry so many books and it's just easier and can actually read with the lights off, which is good. But I mean, getting into the physical habit of reading a physical book, making a place where you do it, a time where you do it before bed. It's an incredible sleep aid. It will make you fall asleep if you have, but getting into that habit just programs you to understand that the sensations, the kind of mental activity that it produces, is something a piece apart from the kind of erogenous zones that are hit by TikTok and Instagram. And you can find funny stuff, but you know, the whole scene is funnier, right? And that's I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen a bit of it. We used to say this all the time. You'd walk into a room, it'd be on television, it'd be on a plane. And this is pretty much everyone now getting little bits of funny movies or smart speeches from a movie, is that there's a value in taking the entire corpus of somebody's body of work. This is everything. This is like everything that Orwell, reading that whole thing, you know, produces so many kind of intellectual gifts that you can't get reading an essay or reading a thing. No, I mean, it's hard because it's time consuming.
Yes.
But, you know, there's a lot of time to be consumed in your life.
Yes.
And don't do it the wrong way, do it the right way.
My answer would be Orwell has 3 or 4 books that are collections of his essays and journalism and book reviews. The ones that were in during World War II are the 2 greatest, and they'll pique your interest because it's like about life in wartime too. England, My England is, I think, one of the titles they put on it. But
there's one because they keep reissuing those different names. There's one called All Art is Propaganda. I think with a introduction by our pal George Packer. I think is that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But that's a good.
Yeah,
we have to get George on. He's great.
The ones that cover from 1940 to 1944, just an incredible run of essays and writing that'll get you interested in other little tributaries of his thought.
Nonfiction, Matt.
What's that?
You have a nonfiction? I mean, a fiction.
That is a nonfiction.
I'm sorry, a fiction recommendation.
Man, I don't read no fiction.
That's a lie.
I don't read no fiction. I like stuff that takes me to places. Read Lawrence Durrell's Alexandria Quartet, and I'm
Yeah.
so sorry for having
Yeah.
recommended that because it'll absolutely destroy your brain. But
You start with Justine,
Start
but
with Justine.
Justine will take you through all the other ones very quickly.
yeah, it's
Very good.
amazing, and it can be very dark and also bewitching. Josie RP or whatever. Why aren't more people interested in my Ukraine settlement? Recreating the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. I've heard this before. You've heard this, right? Like it's
Going to Ukraine and being in Lviv and having people debate you on what to call it. It has a German name. It was called Lemberg when the Nazis occupied it. It has its Lviv. The problem with the entire neighborhood, and this is really interesting when you look at Polish civil wars after, because, you know, the Bolsheviks try to take Poland early on. There's a lot of, like, all of this stuff. If you get to a point and Putin is not invading Ukraine in 2022 now, God, that's a long time ago, that delicate balance has existed in its way after 1990, 91, in a way that is so fascinating if you look at the history just for 150 years. I mean, Poland's been partitioned 350 billion times, but one of the great things about this, and it's to be the Tom Friedman, and I never want to be Tom Friedman in anything, but it was like, you know, the two McDonald's don't go to wars, et cetera. That turned out not to be true with the Balkans, right? But the general idea of it is that look at Poland's GDP right now. It's the strongest in Europe. Poland, Jason and I were in Poland.
Catching up to Japan if they haven't already, which is
we were in Poland about a year ago, and there's still the remnants of communism everywhere. These big poured cinder block apartment towers and the rest of it. But it is a thoroughly modern country that is rich, that is happy, that has a stable government. It has a lot of fighting, and there was a moment between the two governments now, the Donald Tusk government and the Kaczynskis in the Law and Justice Party, where they were going in that Trump direction, where they took over state television, and this was a big controversy, and they were just broadcasting propaganda, et cetera. But all of that aside, it's a pretty stable place. I mean, in the late 90s, early 2000s, Poles were traveling across Europe and making everyone angry. They were the Mexicans of Europe.
Polish plumbers.
The Polish plumber. Don't hire them. They're undercutting wages. We, as Americans, racialize everything. In Europe, it was about the Poles. It was also about people from the Balkans, too. But they went back home, built this incredible economic engine, and then you look back at Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, the Balkans and Ukraine's position in the Soviet Empire, too. Khrushchev was Ukrainian, so that tells us a lot about what happened, too. But you look at it now and you say, that probably can't happen in just those countries because they're not expansionist. Obviously, Russia's a different story. You have Russia and you need they have a spending, their military budget spending of GDP is, I think, 140% GDP at this point. They have a fence that Jason and I visited around the border, particularly of Belarus, that is forbidding. And the military up and down because migrants were coming through and they were trying to prevent that, particularly because they're being weaponized by Lukashenko in Belarus. But it's so funny that it's a great idea, by the way, and read more about this because it's pretty interesting. But you look at Russia's the problem. You take Russia out of that, that's a stable place. I mean, you have a flat tax in a roaring economy in Estonia. They have the most insanely advanced tech sector in Estonia. Latvia, Lithuania, very, very advanced too. But that was because the Russians were kicked out. And Ukraine could have its same, I mean, Ukraine has its corruption problem that is a hangover from the Soviet Union, but clean that up and they could join that universe of very, very successful Baltic, Eastern European states. But the Russians are ruined it.
On the kind of like live in the same place and have a bunch of different countries. It was one of the absolute staples of post-communist journalism. Everyone would do, you would do one story about the Gypsy King of fill in the blank place. I did one of those. And then you do one like she's lived in the exact same place her whole life. And she's lived in 5 different countries. That was like Eastern Slovakia. You've been in Ruthenia, God knows how many different places. It's better when there's no goddamn Ruskies. Let's see who's trying to get us in trouble. Brianna Lurie, a bunch of numbers. Thoughts on Meghan's turnaround regarding
Berries.
Meghan Markle? I don't.
Meghan Markle talking about berries.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's BERI.
BERI.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really been following Meghan Markle since we've stopped.
But she has a show on Netflix, which is very good.
Is it like?
Yeah, it's a lot about jam. A
Yeah,
lot of jams.
very convincing.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
flower arrangement.
Yeah. I don't know how she got that way, but she's very talented. I don't know anything. I'm not even,
I don't
people
know what the
accuse us
question is actually about.
of
Yeah.
apparently Megan has talked about Barry Weiss. I know nothing about this
But is she
beyond the
saying
facts.
nice things or mean?
No, I
things?
think she said something critical about like Tony DeCouple and whatever. It's like, again, we talked about Megan before and about why it's not interesting for us to talk about, and it's not because we're protecting anyone being this, that, and the other. It's just not. It's a world of those internecine stupid debates that I'm trying to extract myself from, and I have no interest.
The soap opera drama.
Yeah, I have no interest in what Nick Fuentes said today or what Tucker said today. You could spend your entire life saying, "Oh, Tucker thinks it's good that the Iranians have a nuke." Let me make the argument against that. Do I have to? Because I think all normal, good people know that a messianic cult is not the same thing. Having a nuclear weapon is not the same thing. as
Did he say that?
Yeah, I think something. I didn't read the thing,
mentioned
but
that.
just
Yeah. There's
something
other
like that.
There's other stuff in the news.
I thought that was sarcasm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I don't think.
Jason just gave us $3.
Oh, Jason.
Oh, it's a sticker. You have a sticker of a
Oh.
bird.
Okay.
I don't understand
Thank
what this
you.
means.
He has
Jason.
some serious
It's
mental
really
health issues.
strange.
That's fine.
Can we all? This is late March. You've been up there, like.
Yeah. Late March. We're renting an apartment together at Battery Park.
Can we all acknowledge Moynihan trying to find inner peace, mental health, and contain his temper is a travesty? Love the Ranson arguments. It's not just
Go fuck yourself.
It's not a travesty. It's just like, can you imagine me flying with my arms? Like,
Yeah.
no, you can't.
I think that, by the way, I get the point, particularly because you've given us money. That's when I really get the point.
Yeah.
But if you want me to yell at anyone, $50, choose a target, and I'll go.
Oh
Trust me,
no!
no. I can be bought. I am a whore. I am happy to do it. No kissing on the mouth, but give you anything you want otherwise. No, I still get angry.
I don't think that the
I do.
they know that you still get angry.
I know, but we book a lot of people who I disagree with, and I think a lot of us disagree with, and we have sort of respectable conversations with them. But there are times when I get
No,
frustrated.
the question understands that, like, that's your state of being.
It's not though. It's not really. I'm fighting it. Come on. It's like, do you think a fucking guy who just quit smoking doesn't see a pack of cigarettes and want to devour the whole thing? Of course I do. It's people sitting across from me, and I'm like, look at this jackass.
Breakfast enjoyer for $4.99. That's a lot of Denny's meals, right there. That's a great
Is it-
slang.
Can you pick $4.99? Is that like a preset thing?
I don't know.
$4.99? Or people just selecting that?
No one involved knows what this is like on the other side.
Citizens United's 2010 Supreme Court decision, as big of a deal in American politics as some people say.
This is a Matt Welch special.
Oh, what's the take from the panel? Yes, it is, and no, it's not. No, it's not in the sense that it's not a live political issue in any meaningful way. You'll hear it invoked by Democrats trying to win a primary or trying to compete in a blue state or something like that. It's sort of like that's a thing. It's, teachers unions are great and Citizens United is terrible. Every Democrat has to say that if they want to run for president.
Yeah.
But that it's not debated too much. It's not again going to go in front of the Supreme Court. And et cetera.
It's not quite net neutrality, but it's in that direction.
It's not
of
quite.
something that consumed a lot of oxygen in a debate and then kind of went away, but it is used and deployed when people want to make arguments about losing.
It has affected politics in that
Yes.
there's more spending from individuals and groups corporately gathering together and spending on political activities, and so more of the spending on politics on net is from technically separate from the campaign organisms, which arguably have then made kind of outsiders as opposed to insiders of political parties have more influence.
But you see,
and
the
that's
two most
changed the shape of the politics.
but
a
the
little
two most impactful political figures, let's start in 2016, is Bernie Sanders, small dollar. I mean, that was true. That was
Yeah.
real. Ron Paul, small dollar donors. That was true. That was real. And Donald Trump, who was not taking money for a long time. His problems with money and the public purse and the presidential perch are different. But he was. This was not a Citizens United thing. I mean, there was a rich guy who ran for president, spent his own money, and asked some of his rich friends, and things changed the second and third times he ran. But the first time around, that was post Citizens United, and that was not like a huge factor. If anything, I'd say it was the opposite, particularly in presidential politics.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeb
Money
Bush,
has not been
how much did Jeb Bush lose in the 2016 campaign?
$80 million.
Yeah, it was
like
more than
Michael
that.
Bloomberg spent like $100 million.
For half a delegate?
Yeah.
A guy with like a wooden leg in some Marshall Island? Yeah. It doesn't mean that you're going to get anything from it.
I thinking about the question, I'm wondering if the premise is that the wrong or right people are winning because of the money in politics. And I don't know how to answer that question. Like if there weren't Citizens United, would the world be materially different today?
I don't know. I don't think so.
And then there's the philosophical question. Like, is the presumption that money in politics is really, 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 really important actually valid? And is it healthy for that to be like the dominant perspective amongst, say, most of Americans, whether or not it is? And relatedly, the presumption that we ought to know who everyone is giving their money to, and that or not know. I actually think that's these are important questions.
Open
and
secrets.
they have something to do with the kind of health of a democracy. And I don't actually know that money in politics is inherently corrupting or corrosive.
Can be, but the idea was always that it must be. It has to be.
Yeah.
It's
And people
150 million.
And
Jeb Bush, by the way.
Oh God.
Yeah.
And people almost always, when they think about money in politics, think about political elections. And that's not the vast
Or
majority.
AIPAC.
Right.
That's not the vast majority of
Right.
political spending in American politics. It's on lobbying.
And it's not the consequential money in politics either,
Yes.
probably.
And which is a lot different. What's your deal, hater? Going to the top of the line.
This
Again.
guy.
It's great.
Is this Jonathan?
Yes, it is. Camille, who do you plan to have on your ticket for your run in 2028? Good question.
Nick Fuentes.
I think I don't even. I have no such aspirations. None. Not
If you
anymore.
had to,
I just want to be happy.
I was just with Gary Johnson. I spent the night at his house
Yeah.
not long ago.
in his
hot tub.
bed. Yeah.
Um,
There's no judgment here.
Was Gary Johnson in there?
yeah. We
Dude, how the fuck do you do a podcast in
Matt
the day
Welch will
after
kiss
you
into him.
don't lead with the fact that you were
Spooning
talking
with
about
Gary
Olympo
Johnson.
in a podcast, in a hot tub with Gary Johnson?
and I had the opportunity to smoke a really, really good joint, and I turned it down.
Mm.
I could have smoked the joint with
Did he
Gary
have clothes
Johnson
on?
in his hot tub. I'm not going to answer that question just yet.
Wait,
and
did he pant?
watched.
Did he pant?
No, he wore his whatever.
What?
I don't.
Speedo.
It was his. He was covered appropriately.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say I don't remember, which is your new thing. I can't remember if he had pants on or not.
Anyways, Gary Johnson, great guy, who on our podcast in 2016, because I was looking at my phone looking for those 2016 pictures that people were doing on Instagram. I posted a killer one, by the way.
That was a thing?
Yeah, it was a thing people were doing.
Was any picture from 2016? Go ahead.
Yeah. I posted one of us with our friend Kennedy. That was very
That's
cute.
why you posted that. I
Yeah.
don't understand.
But another, my phone kept
follow
wanting me
shit.
to post ones of Kmele and Gary Johnson because you guys had worked out that it was
He
going to be,
made me a promise. Yeah.
yeah, that you
didn't
guys were going to
deliver.
run together. But I don't think Gary Johnson's running this time.
He didn't deliver.
So you wouldn't pick anyone in particular?
I don't know right now. I'm just not in that world. I can't imagine that future.
The answer is Dawn Bacon.
Sure.
Baylor is
Yeah.
She better be hot. I think that's my perspective. Work well for RFK.
Katie Sitap, bunch of numbers for $10. Don't Truth and Reconciliation tribunals only work after you've won the civil.
Yeah, somebody's got to win for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, whoever said that is correct. You do have to win something. in that sense. Do you want to
That's
pick
the right
one
follow-up.
before we get out of here? Need Stephen Cock on the show. Working my way through Armageddon Averted, which is his book about the end of the Soviet Union. Fantastic writing, historical context. Thank you, David. He's very, very good on Ukraine, and he's doing a 3-volume doorstop biography of Stalin. 2 are out. The 3rd one is being written now. I've tried to get in touch with him for my show, and he's busy writing that volume 3. So, but I'll try harder and see if we can do something like a peel-off episode with him, because I don't think there's anybody who knows more about the Soviet Union and modern day Ukraine even than him. So
Marcia Clark.
no. Do we say? We say.
It says right there.
Yeah.
I'm just reading the name.
Yes.
Marcia Clark, 6953, a bunch of numbers.
Yeah.
For $10, just saw the title of episode 541, which brought up the burning question: what did Meatloaf mean when he said, "I won't do that"?
By the way,
what the hell was that? It's a fantastic question.
I mean, by the way,
But we know.
what a good question.
Yeah.
I want to say, it's just not just because I love Marcia, but I just imagine her in a courtroom stalking the witness box to Mr. Loaf.
Yeah, Mr. Loaf.
Mr. Loaf. That is very suggestive, but I won't do. I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that.
Mm-hmm.
In the comments, if you'd like to fill it in, because
No, but what do you think?
everything.
What do you think? You sound confident, Kmele. What won't he do?
Interracial?
Yeah.
I think that's wrong. That's wrong. No.
I was going off my car. I had that on
You
there.
remember, did you meet Meatloaf at the Fox building with me? Because he used to come into the Fox building. He did Greg's
very
show
hard
a
sentence.
few
Did you
times. Well, I remember when I first met him, I'm like, hey, Kmele, nice to meet you. He says, yeah, my name is Meat. Or he says, yeah, hey, I'm Meat.
Meat.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is how he introduced himself.
Jason and I
He's
knew
wonderful.
a guy called Beef. Remember Beef? It was an appropriate name too. Did you have a conversation?
About what he wouldn't do, and he's
What he wouldn't
Why
do?
did-
Well, I mean, that's the first thing that came up. He was very clear about it from the outset.
He's like, I won't,
Yeah.
I won't, because you are, and you're like, I'm not black.
I tried to
And
explain to
then he
him.
was
such
like,
an awkward
I don't get
conversation.
into it,
I know.
don't get into it.
R.I.P. King. R.I.P.
Is he dead?
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Dead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what happened?
Mortality.
To quote Norman Tell, I didn't even know he was sick.
I have no idea what that song is about. I do like it though. Like,
Yeah.
really energetic. and
Well,
great.
thank you, Marcia,
you
but
didn't
I
answer
know what you're doing.
You didn't answer the question.
No, she's trying to get me in trouble.
What?
She's trying to get me in trouble.
She know
What do
that you know
mean?
the
Because she
answer.
knew I was going to say interracial. I do most anything, but actually would do almost nothing for love. So I'm a little jaded at that.
I think
I do anything to get certain people to come.
Oh, okay.
What? Well,
There's
an
an
answer
answer.
from what?
There's an answer.
Oh, there's an
We
actual
should
real
ask
answer.
ChatGPT.
before
Okay.
we see the answer, I'm going to give my answer, which is a better one, which is that
Okay, somebody read that.
Very cheesy.
that he won't say I love you. I would do anything for love, but I won't say I love you.
That's
I
it.
won't do that, he says.
I won't do that.
Yeah, no, but otherwise he would say, I won't say that. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
No,
That's not
Here,
that's
a
not
bad
what
theory.
Jonathan's thing says. It says
No, it's-
cheating or betraying trust, lying to his partner, abandoning her when things get difficult, losing respect or emotional
It's
honesty.
so fucking stupid.
That's it.
Are you sending us fucking ChatGPT?
Of course. Of course.
ChatGPT.
But by the way, like if you are,
It's an answer. I think it's a good answer. Thank you.
I think it's dumb. I think it's a
ChatGPT.
dumb answer.
Great
And I
question.
think the AI bubble just burst because of that fucking stupid answer. What is no? I mean, I would do anything, but I won't do that. I won't betray you. What is that, some sort of
No.
Christian song?
He won't go down south.
Yeah, it doesn't
That's
make a
what-
lot of sense.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's actually better.
That's what I thought.
It's better if it's a euphemism for something.
Right?
Yeah. And it's just something weird that he's not into that she
Can I be
really
honest?
is.
Weird.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you should do it.
Which I think is wrong.
Yeah. It's
I think
morally
it's
wrong.
wrong. It's morally wrong.
Yeah.
If you don't do that,
I think
you're
that's
not a
right.
man.
Yeah, whatever it
You're
is.
not a
do it.
man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, you should watch that hockey show. You should be sitting in a room watching that hockey show, and not the hockey bits.
Yeah.
That's right.
You are not a man.
And rewind it and watch it again.
Meatloaf, you are not a man. Rest in peace.
Yes.
I didn't know. I didn't know that he. Was he, when he died, was he
what?
hefty?
Oh,
He was never not hefty.
No, I think he lost, because he probably died before
He didn't do the Jonah Hill.
GLP, whatever. Thanks for the, this is Finch 23. I'm not going to read the numbers. I think YouTube must add those. Thanks for the great recommendations. You guys and Zeppo are my favorite political commentators. I wonder if that person's Australian. Oh,
No.
wow.
all right.
This is
Okay.
good.
All right.
You can't answer. We have to keep.
Okay. There's an
drag this
omerta
out.
here, but here's the
Yeah.
thing. Here's the thing. Lindy Kirk just put us in a very difficult situation.
Yeah.
Thank you for that previous one, by the way. Josh is the best, and he's coming to town soon. We're going to have him on.
Mhm.
Lindy Kirk did take me up on my suggestion that if you put a certain dollar amount, I will answer anything.
But you're not that cheap a date.
No,
Yeah.
no.
But didn't you?
Is there a thumbnail of Lindy in that picture? I think I will.
Just zoom in.
Change some things.
Yeah. How much you got?
Yeah, can we just
We'll take.
Yeah.
We'll take everything.
So Lindy threw down $100
yes.
and then asked the question
99.99.
that I am going to punt on,
Oh.
and now I'm going to have to give Lindy her money back.
No, you
I
don't.
know. I'm not going to look. I'm a fair guy. I'm not going to take your. I mean, maybe.
No. No. This is
I don't think we can do it. I don't think YouTube has that mechanism. But now let it rip on Megyn Kelly.
Lindy?
I don't know why people, but I don't know why people can't accept that what's been said. What's been said is what is. To
Hey,
be
before
said.
you sat down, we talked about it a little bit too.
Yeah.
But in the same.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah. I think that her view of the war in Azerbaijan really was like,
British
what is
Party.
wrong with you? Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Don't you hate when that happens
That's
to
what-
you, Matt Welch?
that's
exclusively.
For love.
Yeah.
But I can't do that.
Megan question makes you droop. Oops.
This is why Hims is the sponsor of the
Lindy-
Fifth Element podcast.
Lindy. Lindy. I don't know what to say about that. I just say it's political disagreements. We're going different directions. It's like a breakup. You break up. You go in different directions. You still like the person. You still have a respect for the person. If you see him on the street, you say hi. You might see if they want to go have a drink and maybe have a quick, rekindle some stuff for like the afternoon, but not forever. That kind of thing. So, did I filibuster long enough for $100 or not?
I think that you said that you would do that with Megyn Kelly. That's what I was hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has that ever been a mystery? I'll make it up to you, Lindy, but $100 does not cover any blowback with any answer to that question that is detailed, which is just like, I don't know. It's a private relationship.
I don't understand why, like, just kind of extricating yourself from a situation in a particular kind of context professionally is all that interesting or
I
intriguing.
don't know.
Like this, we have certain conversations corporately. We then just don't.
He's gonna try to earn that money.
Not really a big deal.
Yeah. Can we go back to Meatloaf going down on girls? That's a better question. Yeah. No. Very racist. Yeah. He was the George Wallace of 70s Stadium Rock.
But
That's
I
what,
won't do
that's what they
things.
said. They said, sir, Meatloaf. All right. Greetings from München. From a Dane who really appreciates level-headed American voices on the Greenland issue. Not as much at stake as people of Greenland, but I've always liked the USA. Anyway, greetings. Thank you, Jens. I did an episode of my show with Johan Norberg the other day, and we talked at some length about this. And on our show the other day, we did talk about also the amazing Danish contributions to almost everything. I mean, I have limitless respect for Denmark as a country. You can disagree with policies, who cares? Copenhagen is it is my favorite city in Scandinavia, despite the fact that I lived in Stockholm. It's a beautiful city. It's a efficient city. It's a clean city, incredible food, everything, and performed wonderfully, as I mentioned the other day, during the Second World War. And people try to break up that narrative and say, well, what about this? And but compared to everybody else, wonderfully, was by our side after 9/11. There are a lot of people too young to appreciate that. I am not. Iraq, Afghanistan, et cetera, people who have been wounded, killed. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. And it's a disgrace to treat Denmark in this way that Donald Trump does by using constant like diminutives, right? You know, little Denmark, what power do they have? Well, taco, motherfucker, because they have some power because you just said, sorry, I'm not going to do it militarily. And by the way, those tariffs aren't going to happen. So Denmark also technically, with the help of the European allies, just shut you up. Is it going to end? Of course not. It's Donald Trump. But in the short term, yeah. Respect the Danes. They're very, very good people. And it disgusts me that to have an ally, and such a great ally as Denmark, be spoken like in that fashion and in that manner in front of the world and world leaders at Davos is sickening to me. Really sickening to me. I lived in Scandinavia. I have a lot of problems with Scandinavia, but I love it, you know? And, you know, my daughter has a Swedish passport, not a Danish passport, but kind of the same thing. Don't say that to Danes, though. Jens, it was Jens, right? I'm sorry. You're not the same as the Swedes. You're better.
Are we still going? That Lindy isn't an active one anymore, right?
Lindy and I are going to have a conversation.
Yeah,
I got to get that money back to Lindy.
Ian from SL again.
Nice try, though.
Silver Lake, that is. Have you watched Dear Mama on Hulu? No. Do you think it's worth revisiting long-held negative views of Tupac? Is that how you pronounce it?
Tupac Shakur.
Tupac Shakur, and taking another look at his life and his mother's story. I'm going to go to Kmele.
I haven't seen the show.
Yeah.
And I don't know what kind of like apocryphal storytelling is happening there, if they're the kind of lionizing him or his mom. I do live down the street from Tam High, where Tupac went to high school, in Marin. And I do have stronger feelings about that shooting that took place in Marin, where a gun was used to kill a kid in a shootout that happened to be Tupac's gun that dropped,
it's
apparently from him. Yeah, who among us has not had a
killed
firearm
with
at a
gun
concert?
registered to you.
The concert, the gun falls out of your waistband apparently, and someone picks up the gun and fires it, and it kills a kid, and you don't get into any trouble for it, and no one even remembers. I mean, we could revisit his legacy, but that is the kind of stuff that I think we would probably need to foreground. And my suspicion is that that wasn't in the show. Look, how people end up the way that they end up is complicated and is always worth being interested in, and just dismissing people and throwing them away is not something that I love. But also like having a broader appreciation for who they actually turned out to be in their worst moments towards the end of their lives and for the bulk of their lives is another thing.
We did like a deep dive into that shooting once, a long, long time ago. I mean, the idea of it was the cancellation stuff is like, why do certain people are immune even in death from that? It's like, we should not play Michael Jackson on the radio. Obviously that stuff's gone. We talked about that with Chuck Klosterman.
Should be Klosterman.
It should be, I'm just gonna call him Klosterman.
Yeah.
But this stuff with Tupac, who also went to prison for rape. Was it rape?
There was a
sexual assault?
there was some sort of sexual assault thing, which I actually think is
I can't defend
less
the person.
is perhaps a little less compelling case against him there than the gun thing. To be totally honest, there's at least some complicating.
A jury convicted him.
Yeah, but there's some complicating.
Yeah, sure. It doesn't mean that it happened, but
I just don't think he's the wise street philosopher. Like, I don't actually think that the insights are all that brilliant. I don't find that Black Panther shit like remotely interesting. There are much smarter, more interesting thinkers in hip hop. I think when Kendrick Lamar isn't wasting his time beefing with Drake, like there is substance there. There is something rich about that Mr. Morale album. Like, it's great. Like, there are songs in there that made me weep. And I don't get that from Tupac. The Dear Mama thing is actually kind of cheap, to be totally honest.
Jason,
I mean, the song. I don't know anything about the
Super
show.
Bowl shuffle.
I mean, yesterday.
Yeah,
we wept
we
that.
talked about it. Turning points in your career. This is Benedetto.
From Canada again.
That was I thought it was a Guinea, but it's an Italian Guinea. You can always tell with the denominations. Turning points in your career feels like it'll never come. 33 this year. So this is like a song. So fucking old, still broke, and a loser. Handsome though, So not all bad. What you say, fellas, also random movie wreck, Electric Horseman. I think we can do we have an address that we can call the
No, I love that.
No, I think it might be having
I love that.
an issue.
Dude, as long as you have your looks, that's great. While you have them, you can always seduce someone into sleeping with you and taking care of you. No, I think he was sharing a whole bunch of things. What was the movie recommendation?
Electric Horseman.
Some of us are lyrical.
Some of us are lyrical?
Yes.
What do you mean some of us?
I'm not dismissing you from the whole thing.
I'm saying, I'm doubting that you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kmele writing in rhymes in the other room.
I'm saying some of us humans. I'm not even counting myself in that number, although it's obvious.
Electric Horseman, if I'm not mistaken, is the Robert Redford movie where he's like a cowboy, a professional cowboy, and he's got like a dazzling suit. And
is it like psychedelic?
No, it's sort of late 70s. Jane Fonda, I think, is the love interest.
Okay.
And
Jason's he's the official he's the IMDb in human form, and he's nodding that this is true.
I just learned today that Robert Redford did a documentary that was made in 1978 in which he probably, maybe because of some of the cowboy movies, including maybe Electric Horseman, he got very interested in the various sort of cowboy bandit trails between Canada and Mexico in the Mountain West, and made a documentary about going through all of them with Ed Abbey and other people. And the documentary came out in 1978. I'd never heard about it before, but I'm definitely going to queue it up because Ed Abbey is a very interesting character, and it's, they wanted to see the sort of way of life before it goes away, and it's all like West and interesting, which I think is pretty cool. Turning points in your life, 33, you'll be fine. Don't.
And by the way, great movie recommendation, which I maybe mentioned, is The American Friend. The Wim Wenders, I think, which is a German with Dennis Hopper and Bruno Ganz.
Oh, right.
Which is a retelling of the Patricia Highsmith Ripley story, but in a very weird way. And it's really good. And I highly recommend it. If I haven't mentioned it before, I just watched it again a couple months ago. But The American Friend is great. It's a good movie. Criterion Collection film now. We've been going almost 2 hours. I'll say one thing before we read one more, and then we can dip. If you did have a question that was not answered and that you think I can answer, I'm doing a show tonight at 7 o'clock, and we're doing it live on YouTube for the Moynihan Report. And I never really promote these things, but I'm doing this one on my own tonight, just getting things off my chest. And in the chat and in the, you can come on video and all that stuff too. If you have questions, 7 p.m., I'll be there if you want them answered. So
do it.
It's a solo gambit tonight, so we'll see.
Good luck to the internet. Maybe last one from Bishop Digest for $4.99.
Yeah.
Kmele, what do you think about the racial reckoning that happened in rap, in rapism, after the Drake and Kendrick Lamar beef?
I didn't like it. The short version being that Drake, who's been at the top of hip hop for well over a decade.
Isn't he Jewish?
Well, what became the most prominent issue in this really public beef with Drake and Kendrick was, one, the allegations of pedophilia on Drake's part. Two, everyone calling him out for being a white boy and insufficiently black. And that lack of credibility was one of the main accesses upon which he was attacked by everyone in hip hop. And yeah, I thought it was really cringe. And I thought it was really disappointing to see Kendrick be a part of that. Because like I said, I think he has interesting ideas and is smart and thoughtful and cares about a broader universe of things than the pedestrian street beefs and shit. So yeah, it was bad. It was boring. But it's also just of a piece with hip hop.
A lot of anti-Semitism in the hip hop world.
A lot of anti-Semitism, a lot of stupid race essentialism. It's I don't listen for those things. You don't listen to what's beef.
X-Clan records.
The red because you like murder.
Sissies. I'm gonna do one more final thing.
All right.
Because this is the guy who's just emptying somebody else's wallet.
Stolen crap.
And he clarifies that the $9.99 and then the dollar amount is preset and the character limit is based on dollar amount. Oh, interesting.
Oh, jeez.
Paying
money to inform us.
And then do you think the criticism Barry Weiss is fair?
Which criticism?
There's a lot to respond to here, but I won't do it now because we don't have time. But I do want to put something up on the screen, which I think is one of my favorite things. There was a New Yorker piece, profile of Barry, that included a quote from our dear friend Andy Mills. And this is the quote. If you can see it, I actually can't.
I'll read it. But
Yeah.
many of her past associates also emphasized her deep commitment to her own advancement. Andy Mills, a former colleague of Weiss's at the Times and the Free Press, told me, quote, even those of us who know her, who love her, and who saw how hard she was working, we underestimated the success that she was going to have. Bad font.
First of all, Matt read that like a prisoner. Okay.
You couldn't read it.
No, I could. I was just trying to. I knew you
Motherfucker.
I know you don't drink.
It was white on black
Yeah,
and with a bad cursive. Come
It's okay, Matt.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
All right.
okay.
It's fine. We can get you classes. I can send you to Venezuela. They have great literacy.
33 turning point.
That is one of the most offensive things I've seen in journalism from the vaunted New Yorker with its vaunted fact-checking department.
And a
If you guys
feature
noticed that, there
Feature
was a sentence leading up to a quote, which is the thing that you do in journalism. You're establishing the point that's about to be made.
Yes.
By the way, in journalism, try not to repeat the same point. People do this all the time.
Yeah.
That's a very quick edit. But the editors here were like, people just thought she was a selfish nightmare. Andy Mills. He's a really nice person. Exactly. It's like, what on how
Dude,
the fuck did
underestimated her success.
how the fuck did that get through editing?
Dude.
Of maybe because, like me, the editor fell asleep reading this retread article of everything Barry's done in the past. The criticism of her in this piece, I guess, in that bit is that she's ambitious. Good for her. Good for her. I'm very happy for her. I'm very proud of her for doing that. The criticism of the journalism, I'll tell you what doesn't happen. There was a piece that was put out today. It was on Tony DeCouple's broadcast, and Cards on the Table. Tony's an old friend of mine. I love Tony, who incidentally is the least political person I've ever met and is married to Katie Tur, who wrote an anti-Trump book. So there you go. There was a piece with the woman who had been arrested as the queen, white lady, by the way, of the Somali fraud stuff. And she's in jail. She's been convicted. And I was like,
They hand over like $5 million
Yeah.
in ill-gotten gains.
It is very, very funny too. She was like, yeah, there was some cash in the house. She literally said that. I was like,
a couple,
well, how
a
much?
couple gold rings and watches.
But that is a great get. Her from prison being remotely interviewed by the guy from CBS News.
Yeah.
It's has a short amount of time, asks her relevant questions. I didn't know about her. I wasn't familiar with the case. I then looked into the case a little more. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because it obviously didn't start with Nick, what's his name? Because this woman's already been on trial and is in prison.
Yes.
So this has a
Yeah,
longer tail than
yeah.
this. And no one's talked about it. It's not as if they do good journalism, you're going to hear about it. It's a good get. That it's a great interview. That's a
Right.
good get. Is everyone going to say, okay, she did something I didn't like, but this is a good get? No. This is a lot of stuff coming out of there. And there's going to be a rocky and bumpy road when you start in an institution like this. And I'm very, very exhausted of the people saying, well, she's never worked in TV before. None of you motherfuckers worked in TV at a certain point. Well, yeah, well, I wasn't the boss. I have been in situations where the boss was somebody who never worked in TV before and no one complained about it. They complained because it's Barry. Be honest about it. But the fact of the matter is, imagine working under the circumstances in which every time you sneeze, every media reporter is being texted. After that piece came out, the New Yorker piece, the next day, more people talking to Variety. It's like everyone's trying to destroy her from within.
Isn't your name getting dragged in here sometimes too?
Yeah, you get name checked in that piece.
No, I was name checking that piece. I didn't speak to her. She texted me.
But they did, even the way that you get name checked is like supposed to be this panoply of critics, these people who left her.
Well, the old joke about the New Yorker is, the fact checker calls the bald man, to see if he's really bald, describe that kind of thing. She texted me about talking to her and I didn't respond. I'm sure she's a lovely person, but didn't respond. But they didn't fact check that, which is a simple thing, which is I never worked for them. I was a freelancer.
Contractor.
I was a
Right.
contractor. I filled in on Barry's show because Barry was empire building,
Mhm.
and she very generously allowed me to fill in that show. And so when I
I think
left,
you're better than Barry was on that show.
you
That's
think?
that's my
Thank you
opinion.
very much. That's nice.
Certainly
And I don't mind you saying that because she is much richer than me now. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I will take that.
So are a lot of people like who like worked around her. Isn't that?
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. By the way,
You should have worked for
yeah, yeah. Okay, Lindy.
Take the job.
Lindy, you wanted some fucking tea? I'll tell you this. I'll tell you one thing for your money. I still have to work it off. But, yeah, when you have a company that is acquired by another big company, people who have equity in that company then make money. Very simple. you understand
Sometimes, yeah.
it. Different levels. People who worked for that company did in fact make money because they had equity in that company.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know the person who didn't?
Mm.
Is that my camera? I look down the barrel. This motherfucker. So if it is maybe a distinction, a difference to some people, but to my bank account, it is a distinction with a huge difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't make any money from that.
I'm so sorry this is happening to you.
Do you have any
So
regrets?
I'm being nice. I'm trying to get some back.
Do you have any regrets about the way you behaved?
Jeez.
I think
I'm the guy. I'm the French
think-
goodbye guy.
Can you
Me?
DM Lindy and see if
Yeah.
she wants to open her wallet again? This is not a $99.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
This is a couple grand.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. Do I have regrets? To quote Frank, a few.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have tried to get Barry to pay for our team.
My
Yeah.
father. Oh, I didn't. Was that a Lionel Richie reference? I can't. Oh, okay. He went to a Gibby
course it's
Haynes
a
reference, but
Gibby
you know.
Haynes reference.
All right. Well, this was a fun experiment.
Yeah. Well, tell us what you guys thought about it, but it seemed fun.
It was really fun. And join me tonight at 7:00. We can continue the party and keep talking some shit. So super happy to do this. And I thought this was really fun. So I enjoyed it.
All right.
All right, guys.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
We know of new methods of attack. The Trojan horse